Okay, so I quit coffee, aka caffeine, because coffee was really the only form of caffeine that I ingested for 30 days. And I initially did this challenge and made a video 30 days ago saying I was going to do it, and I publicly committed, which definitely added as a catalyst to help me carry through the challenge. I probably would have went back on it if I hadn't publicly committed. So if you ever want to commit to something, do it publicly. It kind of ensures you do it because you don't want to be breaking your word in front of a bunch of people. And you don't want to be breaking a word just to yourself either, but the fact that there's people watching you makes it less likely. Anyways, I digress. I quit caffeine 30 days ago because I wanted to take really all of the main initiatives I could to help regulate my nervous system and kind of like take me down from like a fight or flight stressy kind of internal environment to just a more chill, tranquil environment. And quitting caffeine isn't the only initiative I took. I also started meditating more consistently, and I started doing yoga 1 to 2 times a week as well. And I'm also just like breathing more consciously during the day. And I've been doing this for years, but just like slow, deep breaths like that. When I find that, my body is stressed or there's a lot of cortisol being produced and I'm just kind of like, my mind's racing or something like this, I'm just taking different initiatives. And now quitting caffeine was one of those initiatives. And I didn't think it'd be a silver bullet necessarily, but I'm just in the mindset where I'm going to take, the initiatives that I can to move myself in the direction of my elite self. And I know that the elite version of myself has, I don't know if there's ever a completion or a finish line with self-mastery, but for lack of a better term, mastered myself internally and externally, in the department of my mindset, my thoughts, my emotions, my inner environment, my inner healing. All these things are very long journeys, but I want to progress along them. And yeah, and so I quit caffeine, and it was difficult. Uh, Honestly, I didn't even really notice the energy aspect of it that much. In fact, after like a week or two, like I didn't really notice anything different with my energy. The main thing that I missed was a nice hot cup of Joe in the morning, and after a week in, I replaced it with decaf coffee, so I kind of still got the nice sensation of coffee without having to ingest caffeine. And there's a little bit of caffeine in decaf coffee, I was informed along the way, but very minimal and negligible. And so, anyways, and then after maybe three weeks or so, like this last week and maybe the week before as well, I really didn't miss it or notice it all that much. One thing that helped me was replacing my early morning. Like I started working out first thing in the morning, and so I got out of bed, quick cold shower, then hot, chugged water, chugged electrolytes, and that's a satisfying beverage to drink in the morning. So I'm still getting some type of satisfying beverage to consume. And then I'm working out, getting a steam in after, and then having breakfast after that. And I don't really notice I'm not having coffee just because I'm doing other things and other things I enjoy and consuming other things that are satisfactory as well. But before that, like the first couple weeks, I kept my same routine that I was doing when I was on caffeine, which was just get up and work. And when I got up and worked without caffeine, I definitely missed it then, because having that nice hot cup of Joe to help you wake up during the work session was definitely nice. So I missed it then. And now it's 30 days after the fact. Like this morning was day one where I could have chosen to go on caffeine, but I did not choose to do that. And I gave myself this 30-day window where it's like, look, I'm going to give myself 30 days on this challenge to see whether or not I want to continue afterwards. I figured 30 days was a long enough stretch where I could actually see if there's any benefits or any changes or any kind of notable differences there. But also short enough where it's like I'm not committing to this arbitrary thing once I've already determined what I want to do. And yeah, I'm deciding not to go back on for a couple reasons. One, I believe that my sleep has improved slightly. I believe that it's a tad easier to get to sleep, a tad easier to stay asleep. And I notice I'm dreaming more, which is interesting, which is likely obviously a symptom of more REM sleep. So that's a good thing. I want to prioritize my sleep. And number two, coffee obviously stains your teeth a little bit. So I'm like, I don't really want that. Um, and yeah, and overall, maybe I do feel a little less, not jittery, but stress, I guess, is the best way to put it. Although I'm not sure actually that is the best way to put it. But I feel like there's just less cortisol, being produced in excess in my body. Maybe this is just like I don't know if this is an accurate observation, to be honest. It's just kind of like a sensation. But it's just kind of like, yeah, it's just a feeling I have about it. And, I'm just going with that feeling to make a decision. Yeah, because obviously caffeine, it spikes your cortisol. And especially if you consume it in the morning, especially if you consume it in the first 90 minutes of the day, that's when your cortisol is being pumped through your system and you have a cortisol spike to help you wake up. So if you have caffeine during that first big cortisol spike in the first 60, 90 minutes of the day, then it just amplifies that cortisol spike, not only then, but also throughout the rest of your day. And not only that, caffeine has a very long half-life. I think it's like a 10 to 12 hour half-life. So half of it's gone 10 hours later after you consume it. That means half of it's still in your system by the time you're in bed. And so to me, that's just like, I think it's impossible to get better sleep when you have a little bit of caffeine in your system versus if you don't have any caffeine in your system. So I'm kind of using that logic as well as my observation of having slightly better sleep to kind of make this decision. Now, I'm not going to never have caffeine again. I think it's incredibly likely that I will consume caffeine again in my lifetime. If I were a betting man, I would put a lot of money on me consuming caffeine again in my lifetime. However, I'm not going to be consuming it daily. And again, I make this statement, this may also change, like who knows. But this is just where I'm at right now. I'm not going to be consuming it daily. I'm more so going to be using it as a tool sparingly if I need it or if I just want to for some reason. If the mood strikes me, I want to have a nice early morning cafe session and do it, then I will do it. Or if I get a bad sleep one night, that might be a case as well. But yeah, so I just wanted to update you guys on this. It was a challenge. The overarching theme here is taking little steps to optimize yourself in the ways that matter most to you. We all have this version of ourselves, mentally, physically, emotionally, habitually, and spiritually, that we must develop into in order to achieve what we define to be our max potential in our life. And it's our responsibility, I believe it's our responsibility and duty to do the hard work to develop into that version of ourselves. And this, again, involves hundreds, if not thousands, of different areas of self-development across those 5 big categories. And for me, this is probably in the mental, physical, and emotional categories, this initiative that I'm taking. And since it created a slightly positive ROI, I'm going to keep it the same. And that's honestly a lot of how self-development works. You define kind of these different things that you want to improve about yourself. You define what are the highest leverage things about yourself that you want to change or level up. And then you ask yourself, or ask a coach if you have one, what are the initiatives I can take that are most likely to generate my desired outcome with these areas? And then you execute those commitments and then measure results. And depending on the quality of those results, either discontinue or continue or reduce or add initiatives. And so that's pretty much self-development in a nutshell. And yeah, so I wanted to share this with you guys. I do like many different things like this that I could probably share more of as well. Just like different changes to my routines, my diet, my schedule, my habits. I'm just trying to find different ways that I can improve myself on a daily and a weekly basis. Because I am in the camp, and I'm sure many of you guys are as well, where I don't want to be 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120 years old and thinking, shit, I wish I would have developed into this version of myself. Wish I would have done that. Wish I would have really, got control over that bad habit. Wish I would have really taken this massive action. Wish I really would have done this and that. I don't want to have those regrets at the end of the line. And so in order to avoid those regrets, you got to take some massive action in the present. And even if you are 40, 50, 60 right now, or 30, or however old you are, you might as well make the absolute most out of the rest of your life. And in order to do that, you need to develop into a certain version of yourself. So I'll leave it at that for today. If you want any help developing into the elite version of yourself, there will be a link down below to book a call with me to see if you're a good fit for our self-development program. But besides that, I'm making these videos just to share my process, share my insights and takeaways in hopes that it can, inspire you guys or help you in some way, shape, or form. So hope at least a few of you took something away from this video. Either way, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.